We live?
Not quite.
Okay.
Still waiting for the button.
You say that, yet last week, it started recording before you hit the go live button.
Before
It
I hit
says
publish?
it's live right now on.
Oh.
It says it's live
Well, it does say publish.
Yeah.
because he hit publish.
No,
and then it published.
Yeah, published.
And now it's all publishing.
But if you go back and you watch the video from last week, you hear Phil in the background going, "Waiting for the publish button." So
Really?
yeah,
How about that?
yeah.
I don't remember hearing that, but we'll have to go check it out. By the way, welcome. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Sunday evening.
Hello.
I was just getting ready to tweet the link, but I cannot find the link. So, but there are a couple people watching. Yes, Il Rosewood, the alerted YouTube said we are live because we are live, and you're watching us live. So we will be chatting about movies and such. See if I can find the link to tweet it out, though. Andrew, entertain everybody while I find the link.
Words, funny words, sad words, words and words.
AdWords?
Ad word, bad words. No bad words on this podcast.
We do a clean show.
The clean show, ladies and gentlemen. You got to go over to CinemaSins to get the bad words.
That's right.
I ordered a CinemaSins shirt.
Did you?
Yeah.
Let's get that a little closer.
Me a little closer.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There. See, now you're using it correctly.
I hate because I can't. It like blocks my view of Aaron, and I like looking at Aaron. He's a handsome fella.
See, yeah, and then you can always try to do a little more.
Yeah, but it's so heavy, it just keeps falling down. Even if I tighten this,
Oh, that's too bad.
so it's a lose situation for Andrew.
Get some Mike Agra.
Yeah. Oh well. But yeah, life's been good for me. What have I been doing? You guys have been traveling all over the world. What have I been? Oh, I got a crazy idea that's definitely not going to happen. But I went on the government deals, like their liquidation website, and I thought about getting a short bus and like converting it into like a camper because they're only $1,000 on the government liquidation site.
So
Okay.
I work at OTC here in Springfield, Ozarks Technical Community College for people that don't live in Springfield.
Yeah.
And we list stuff on there all the time. So
Really?
yeah, you might be buying something from essentially me, like if we're like getting rid of old computers or something.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, those liquidation sites, man.
Dude, it's unbelievable. You can walk away with a PC for like $35.
Yeah,
it's
crazy. And like all the buses and stuff I looked at, they say they all run and everything. And the way I was thinking about it, they got to be taking care of them because if it's a school bus, the upkeep on those has to like they're transporting kids, so like they have to be well maintained and stuff, So, but I decided to go with the short bus instead of a full size bus because I don't want to have to finagle driving that thing around. Plus, converting something of that size to like a cool camper would just be a huge undertaking. Whereas a short bus would just be fun.
So the question is, do you still need a certain license to drive that?
That's what I'm looking up right now.
Like if you're driving by yourself with no other passengers in the vehicle.
Yeah.
All right, we are tweeted and we are ready to go. We've got 5 people watching already, so bring it on.
All right.
And we will do a show.
Can you turn the air on? It's kind of toasty.
Yeah, air on.
here.
Can you turn the air on?
If you don't turn the air on, I will die, sir.
Is it just me, or is it actually hot in here?
No, it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that for you.
Thank you.
Let me.
I didn't know if it was because I was wearing a regular, like collar on my shirt. I always wear V-necks because I hate the feeling of a collar right on my neck.
It is currently 74 degrees in this room.
Toasty.
So, and we have not had the AC on in like a week
Oh, I'm right
because
there
it's
with
cool
you.
at night.
Yeah, my apartment I just had all the windows open, but
For,
this is a bunker. No windows to open.
For you, so you're not sweating on the show. We'll make it happen. All right, so we will change it to AC
Thanks, good buddy.
and set it to be on. All right. Now, aren't you glad you tuned in for all that?
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to get into recording the podcast. A little bit of a different time for us, so apologies if we're a little out of sorts or whatever. Lots of travel. Phil and I both traveling hours upon end to get here today So for the show.
And we were probably geographically like blocks
Right.
on ends
Without
from
even
each
Yes.
other.
doing it.
Yes. Brian says it's 93 in California.
Yeah,
So
that's
Not
hotter
that
than here.
it's not that here.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. Let's do a podcast recording, shall we?
Okay.
Kidda. Where did my stuff go? There we are. All right, whenever you're ready, Phil.
All right. 3, 2.
Live from a bunker in the heart of the Ozarks, a podcast that promises it's just our allergies acting up. It's SiftPop. Welcome to SiftPop, streaming live most weekends or available to download later in your podcast feed, unless, of course, you're a patron.
Patrons get perks.
Patrons get those perks. Very nice. I'm your host, Aaron Dicer, and he's my Dress to the Nines co-host who puts me on Cloud 9, Andrew Ormsby.
I'm wearing a Bill and Ted t-shirt.
And each week we'll chat about movies, television, and whatever else from the pop culture universe is on our minds.
Be excellent to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I think that's a good life philosophy.
It is.
To be
yeah.
excellent to each other.
Although I don't think that wearing this in like some old jeans is dressing to the nines.
Well, I wrote this before I knew what you were going to be wearing,
Yeah.
Andrew. I just assumed you'd come in a suit like you usually do,
Like,
but here
yeah,
you are in a
exactly.
t-shirt.
Sorry to let you down, bud.
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Good.
I'm taking a quote unquote lunch break from work. So after I'm done here, I'm going back.
Wow.
Oh, are you serious?
Recording the podcast on a lunch break.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Well, thanks, man. That's awesome.
Oh, it's fine.
That's what we call commitment.
Commitment is you. You got a migraine, you said. So
I don't think it's a migraine. I don't usually get migraines. I just have a really bad headache. But
I only get migraines.
yeah,
Yeah, it goes from like
0 to 60.
Yeah.
Zero
And
to
now I got something
migraine.
in my eyes. So
Migraine.
Yeah, it's like the room starts spinning, bright lights, all that
Wow.
stuff, nauseous. Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad I don't have that.
Yeah, I don't get regular headaches. I hear they're preferable,
You know,
preferential to a migraine.
There's got to be a version of a show out there, a podcast out there that's just two old guys talking about their ailments.
Yeah.
We're close. We're getting really close.
Yeah, I thought about doing the stem cell injection. You ever think about doing that? Ever?
No.
No?
Nope. I have never thought about doing a stem cell injection.
Oh man, you should look into it. It's pretty fun.
Should I? Should
Yeah.
I just look into it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's exciting stuff, man.
Will my primary do that? Is that how it gets
Yeah,
done?
is that covered?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay, I'll look into it. Just so next week I can
Aaron's
be
more
more
interested-
educated.
Aaron's more interested in the bionic
Well,
capabilities.
yeah,
Oh,
if you
yeah,
want to put
so
robot parts in
he's-
me, that's fine.
He's wanting to wear down, and break down so
That's
he can
right.
replace everything. Whereas I want to get injections to where it rejuvenates my bones and my joints and stuff to what they used to be when I was 20.
Well, that does not exist.
Literally, that's what stem cell
That does not exist. Now you're going to make me do research
Yes.
so that I can come on next week and tell you how silly it is to think you could inject stem cells into yourself and have the joints and body of a 20-year-old. If that existed, it'd be like the fountain of youth. This is not a thing that exists.
Stem cell therapy.
Yes, internet, please tell me truths.
Yeah.
All right, let's
I want people in the chat.
let's have a debate. Let's have a debate next week. We'll have a debate next week.
Stem cell injections, rejuvenative medical therapy.
Oh yeah. What else is it near?
What do you mean?
Like what other kind of medicines is it near?
I'm confused by what you mean.
All right, let's talk
How
about it
about
next
this?
week. I have no research. I've never done any research on
Mayo
it.
Clinic, is that good enough for you there, Sonny?
Yes, I would love to see what Mayo Clinic has to say about it.
Okay.
All right, we're going to get into the show and chat a little bit about movies because that's what we do here, not our ailments. We talk about our filmaments. I don't even know if that's a thing.
Or our cinephilia,
Yeah, exactly.
which is a condition.
We've got a couple movies, Zombieland Double Tap and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. We're going to do a couple sequels today, and then our Best Ever Challenge, also dealing with sequels,
Yeah.
sequels with a long gap. And, of course, we've got some buried treasure as well. But let's kick it off with some Do We Care?
Every single week I scour the internet to find out what is going on in the entertainment world. I pick some topics for us to discuss, and we must decide, do we care or not. Number 1, Scorsese doubles down on his Marvel theme park remarks, this time adding that all of the films are the same. Meanwhile, be sure to check out his new film about mobsters starring De Niro and Joe Pesci.
And Coppola joining in,
I was
too.
going to say. But we're not going to be talking about Scorsese at all because Francis Ford Coppola has thrown his hat in the ring and he says Marvel movies are despicable. Full quote. When Martin Scorsese says that the Marvel pictures are not cinema, he's right because we expect to learn something from cinema. We expect to gain something, some enlightenment, some knowledge, some inspiration. I don't know that anyone gets anything out of the same movie over and over again. Martin was kind when he said it's not cinema. He didn't say it's despicable because that's what it is. Whoa!
Bring it on, FFC.
Yeah, seriously. Hey, I got an idea for you, FFC. How about you make a good movie within the past 30 years?
Wow, you're taking it personally.
I am taking it personally.
I'll say the same thing I said last night. I don't blame him. You get old, you forget about evolution, you forget about how things change.
Oh, it's like you literally meant you forget about evolution and you're like,
no.
Get off my lawn.
I was actually just thinking about this yesterday when the Francis Ford Coppola news broke, and I just think the history of man is just littered with people thinking change is bad. Is always bad, and it could be technology, it could be it could be high frame rate, it could be whatever it might be, and it's just we're kind of geared that way. When Francis Ford Coppola says we want to learn something and feel something from our movies, he's not experiencing Marvel movies in the same way we are. I highly doubt he's experienced much of any of them if he feels that way, right? And if he has, he's certainly not doing it from our perspective, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a limited perspective, and in the same way that in the same way that I give him grace for feeling the way he feels, I give Marvel fanboys grace for, feeling the way they feel about the movies they think are ridiculous and don't belong. I like to be open to, change. I'm weird that way. I love change. I love the next thing. I get really excited about it. So
I highly recommend that everybody goes and watches Apocalypse Now and the Godfather movies because they are inspiring and enlightening.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
That's what you need out of cinema. Inspiring and enlightening movies.
Also,
like
I guess I can
Full Metal Jacket, one of the most inspiring and enlightening movies I've ever seen in my life.
I think you're making fun.
I am making fun, but honestly, he's one of my favorite directors.
I mean, maybe if you're taking inspiring to mean a certain kind of inspiration, but enlightening for sure. Like, I wouldn't argue that. I think those movies are very enlightening.
Yeah. I'm just making
right.
fun.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess this is the time to break the news as to why else I won't be making fun of Martin Scorsese. I've been invited out to Los Angeles to hang out with Scorsese this week.
Snap.
So yeah, with De Niro and Scorsese at the premiere of The Irishman in Los Angeles.
I've got some Marvel shirts if you want to wear them.
Oh man,
that'd be great.
That would be so amazing. It would be, but see, the thing is, it would be seen as trolly, because nobody's going to know my heart. My heart wouldn't be to be like that, but they would think it was like that. So
it is trolly.
I would never do that.
Yeah, it is trolly, but it's it's not like diminutive or like mean trolling. It's like light spirited,
Yeah, it could be. It just depends on how it's taken. Yeah. Anyways, I'm excited because we'll actually on the show next week, I'll be able to chat a little bit about my experience and a little bit about The Irishman, and I think we'll have like a Netflix week because we'll probably review The Laundromat next week.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be fun times.
Yeah, it'll be good times. All right, go on to number 2.
Number 2,
yes.
Zoe Kravitz. We're switching from Marvel to DC here. Zoe Kravitz has been cast as Selena Kyle in Robert Pattinson's The Batman. Also, Jonah Hill is out, and Paul Dano is in as the Riddler. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Bad time to have saliva go down the wrong throat. That is going to be my Darwin Award right there, dying by choking on your own saliva. It's going to be this is going to be New Earth, I found out, because he's not Edward Nygma in this one. He's Edward, oh man, I'm having a brain fart. in New Earth, like DC, like they have different names and stuff. So he changes his name from Edward, I think Zoran, to Edward Nigma or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm glad to see that we are, getting some pretty fun people. I think Paul Dano is going to be a superb Riddler.
It sounds like things are coming together well. I saw they set Giacchino as the composer as well, and I'm always down for some of his work. He's incredible. So yeah, it sounds like they're putting a good team together. Matt Reeves has done good work, so
I like Matt Reeves a lot.
we'll see how it goes.
I want Andy Serkis in this movie somewhere, just somewhere.
We'll see if we can make that happen for you.
Ooh, Andy Serkis is the Penguin. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Andy Serkis is Solomon Grundy. Yeah, I'm getting a nod from Phil over here. All right, number 3.
Yes, number 3.
Going back to Marvel, except it's Sony Marvel this time. Venom 2 adds Shriek, who is Cletus Cassidy's quote-unquote love interest in the studio, and they have Naomi Harris eyed it for the role.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, when I say love interest, I'm talking she's pretty much Harley Quinn to Carnage's Joker, whereas Joker and Carnage don't really feel anything for, Shriek and Harley
Carnage
Quinn.
the Woody Harrelson
yeah.
character? Okay.
Who is...
It was like in the post-credit scene or whatever?
The really bad post-credit scene, yeah. Where it was just so blatantly like, when I get out, there's gonna be carnage, And I'm
That's
like,
right.
oh. Yeah, they couldn't just
have
have
a roll credits moment for the next movie.
Yeah,
that's,
really.
That's how bad it was.
They couldn't just have him like walk in, just go, "Hello, Cletus." And
Right.
That would have been so much better, But no, they had to really have that bad Bob Ross wig on Woody Harrelson. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm excited because Shriek is an interesting character.
Yeah. Yep. Again, it's wait and see. We'll see how things go. But, they're doing their best. Putting it together for us.
Their best is not up to Scorsese and Coppola's standards, though.
That's right.
So get it together.
I want to see Scorsese's Venom.
You notice how they didn't say that DC movies aren't bad.
Well,
So they're looking at Suicide Squad and Justice League.
That's
going,
right.
Guys, that's how you make
now
a
that's
movie.
that's
how you make a
inspirational
movie.
right there.
Yeah.
That's enlightening.
Yeah.
That's what that is right there.
I mean, Suicide Squad won an Oscar.
Sure did.
All right.
Absolutely did.
So that's going to wrap it up for Do We Care?
All right, let's review a couple movies.
Okay.
Let's kick it off with some Zombieland Double Tap.
Welcome to Zombieland. Life is about more than just survival. We were a family. Dysfunctional, sure, but what family isn't?
Merry Christmas! What would you like, little girl?
I'd really like for you to stop calling me little girl.
It felt so good to be on the move again.
Whoa!
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Hi, I'm Columbus.
Madison.
This is Tallahassee.
Hey, Poplart. Is this your dad? Oh, whoopsie. I forgot the seatbelt rule.
Oh, so she knows the rules?
I told her just a few of them.
73. Are there more?
You're cute.
I like it.
Zombie Slayers, I should say, Tallahassee, Columbus, Wichita, and Little Rock, and every other city square off against the newly evolved undead. And it is a simple description for a simple movie. What did you think of Zombieland Double Tap? Did you like it, love it, dislike it, hate it, or it was just okay?
I really liked it.
High side liked it?
Close to loved it, but
Very
just
nice.
really
Good.
liked it.
Good. I can't wait to hear you talk about this utterly boring movie.
What? Oh my gosh.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Thank
I'm
God.
on the low side of liked it, but I did like it.
Okay.
I did have a good time. It's kind of one of those movies where I'm watching it, I'm smiling, I'm enjoying the characters, the repertoire, some of the lines, and at the same time, my brain is going, this script is trash. There's nothing going on here. It's kind of one of those experiences where it's like you're aware the movie itself isn't that great, like on a technical level.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm smiling.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say low side of liked it.
On a technical level, I think you mean more along the lines of like the script is really basic. Because like the technical aspects, like the
well,
floating...
technical and technological are two different words, but yeah.
But I think technological.
Yeah.
There's some impressive stuff going on. I love
the effects and stuff.
Yeah, the effects.
Sure.
I love the the scrolling like text and stuff, how it pops up and moves around, what they did in the first one,
Yes,
and I love that.
What they did in the first one is going to come up a lot in this. In the film is very aware of it, but it doesn't forgive it, in my opinion. This movie suffers to me in the same way that Deadpool 2 did. In fact, I had a very similar feeling watching Deadpool 2 as I did watching Zombieland 2.
You know why, don't you?
Because it's meta and
it's the same people,
and it's the same as the first one, and
well, it's the same people.
No, Woody Harrelson wasn't in Deadpool.
No, like the producers and writers are the same ones.
Are they?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's why you felt like Deadpool.
Well, no, I didn't mean I didn't mean it felt like Deadpool in that way. I meant the sequel part of it felt like the sequel part of Deadpool. And there are other movies that have dealt with that issue as well, where it's like, okay, but what new are you going to do for me? And it doesn't really go to any kind of interesting new places as far as like expanding what's going on, in my opinion.
Rhett Reese. The reason why it took them so long to make this sequel is because the Deadpool movies got greenlit.
Mm-hmm.
So they were wanting to do Zombieland for a long time, I remember. And but Deadpool became a thing, and I think Jesse Eisenberg just went on a talk show and he says he resents Deadpool because it made him take so long to do the sequel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's funny.
It's finally here, and we can talk about it now.
Yeah, so tell me some of the reasons you really liked it.
They introduce a new character in this movie named Madison, who I think is one of the funniest characters.
Zoe Deutsch.
She is hilarious.
Yep.
Like, everything about that character.
If you look up Scene Stealer in the dictionary, there's a picture of Zoe Deutsch in this role right next to it. She's incredible in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, that Valley Girl, like, how have you survived this entire time?
And it seems like such a trope that would be hard to bring anything fresh to, but she kind of does. Like, it's really interesting because she almost has an intelligence to her naivete that is fascinating. Because when this trope has been done in the past, like when I was growing up, or even as late as the early 2000s, if you were to do this kind of dumb blonde trope, quote unquote, idea. It just became passé because it was really offensive is too strong of a word, but it just became really harsh. It's just like, there's no brain cells there, but there's a real interesting, if not actual intelligence to her, an emotional intelligence to her that is fascinating to me.
She's just affable. Nothing gets her down.
Yeah, exactly. And there's an optimism to it.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really, forgive the pun, infectious about that character's role. Is the fact that she could be like walking through an entire like horde of zombies, with everybody, just blowing them to smithereens, and she just like, oh, this isn't fun, she just has that nothing's gonna get her down attitude. And I got a pretty fun anecdote about this character whenever we get to spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Because let's just say I left to go to the restroom midway through the movie, and when I came back, it was interesting. Does that give it away?
Yes.
Yeah. So
you probably got some questions.
Yeah. Well,
did you get them answered?
I got them answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But I
may have hinted at the answers already in this episode.
Exactly. Yeah. But man, I love her so much, and the fact that she plays so well off of everybody else, and I think that's really where this character is different in the way you were talking about, instead of just harshness. Because I think if you look at the old movies of the day, the dumb blonde, they didn't play off of the main character. They were just there. Whereas she actually serves a purpose, Yeah. She's a dividing factor between Emma Stone and, I almost said Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. But Jesse Eisenberg. So you have, Stone and Eisenberg with this hilarious dividing element, and that's just not even including the amazing cast. Let's just say that the entire cast of this movie is hilarious.
I was impressed that they could do 2019 quote unquote ditz character and not make it offensive, not make it that way. I was impressed with it, so good on her.
Yep. What else you like?
I like the meta-ness. It's really interesting because the meta needle buries itself a little bit too deep for me a couple times, and then other times it's just perfect. It's like right in balance, and I'm enjoying kind of the movie winking at itself. So when it does that well, I'm really having a good time. There's a primary example of some mirroring that's going on with some of the characters partway through the movie that I think when that's working, and it didn't work for all of it for me, but for most of it, when it's working, I thought that was clever and fun and interesting. And I think the way the people they got to play those characters, those kind of things were really great. So yeah, I thought that was good.
What else did I really love? Like I said, the effects are great. I'll throw out a con, I guess. They introduce an element, and I hope this isn't spoilerish, so forgive me. But they say, like, since so much time has passed, that zombies are beginning to evolve, Mm-hmm. Is it cool if I talk about this, or do you think hold off on it?
No, I think you're good.
Okay.
I think you're good. I honestly, coming into this, wasn't sure what kind of spoilers we would do, because there's not, I don't know, there's not a lot of huge story movement going on that would be too spoilery, but...
Yeah. But they introduce this element that zombies have evolved, and they go through the whole rigmarole of the different types of zombies.
Yeah.
But then they don't even use like half of the zombies. So I'm like,
barely, yeah.
It seemed like wasted energy.
Yeah, wasted world building. And when you waste world building, it's almost worse than not doing any world building at all, because you build an expectation of, oh, we've introduced these new parts of the world. How is that going to play into the story? And it kind of ish did a couple times, but not really. It didn't really have an impact. And that goes to the overall feel I had, which is kind of why I'm on the low side of liked it. It just feels like the movie didn't do much, with its good cast, with its good humor, with a lot of the fun we had. It just was like, I don't know, it didn't feel, how would Francis Ford Coppola say it? Didn't feel enlightening or inspiring, let's just say.
Yeah. I think while I think the whole cast is great, I do think that Abigail Breslin was just kind of phoning it in.
Yeah.
I didn't really get much from that character.
Yeah.
Whereas, you look at Woody Harrelson, who's just going all out in this role, because I think this was a role that was designed for him. And you can tell he's having the time of his life with this character. I do like there is a bit of character development with his character as far as like a paternal element to him now for Abigail Breslin. Like he feels like he's a quote a surrogate father, and I like that element. It's really interesting. I wouldn't have expected them to go that route, but I'm glad they did. Made for an interesting movie, and actually just kind of it made sense because as much as we know about that character and how much he wants to be a loner, but if he feels a connection to somebody, it's going to be a good driving force for the movie. So I think they did good there.
Yeah, I think so. I would say the other thing that I was tired of was I think the rule thing got old pretty quick. I like in the first one it felt clever and new and interesting, and in this one I would say 60% or even maybe 70% of any rule mentions were just mentions of rules in the first one, but a little bit different. And it's like, if we're going to keep doing this rule thing, you say you've got however many of them, 73 of them,
show the rest of the rules.
Yeah, show some of the rest of the rules. And I think there were a couple, but again, 60-70% was just reliving the rules from the first one, which really, when you think about it, they don't really make much sense. But again, they kind of make fun of themselves.
Yeah.
In part of the movie, and in those moments I'm going, okay, I see what you're doing, winking at yourself, but at some point I want you to do more than just wink at yourself. I want you I want you to experiment, do something cool, do something new. And I don't know, it just didn't feel like it necessarily went as far. It didn't go to anywhere that I was engaged in any new kind of way with this universe.
My last thing is there is a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene.
Yes.
You can stay for the mid-credit scene. I really recommend it, but you don't have to stay for the post-credit scene.
The mid-credit scene is
fun.
Is really, it's out there.
In a good way.
I think that is to be determined by your perspective on it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a lot of fun, but I can see it being a little too much for a lot of people. So, but yeah, it's a lot. It is definitely a lot. You ready to move on?
Yep.
All right. We've got 2 sequels to talk about this week. So let's talk about Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
asked me to marry him.
No,
I wasn't really asking.
nor was I. Love doesn't always end well, Beastie.
Trust me. Let us prove you wrong.
You have done an admirable job going against your own nature to raise this child. But now, she will finally get the love of a real mother. Tonight, I consider Aurora my own. There is no union. There will be no wedding.
Maleficent encounters a conniving queen who hatches a devious plot to destroy the land's fairies. Hoping to stop her, Maleficent joins forces with a seasoned warrior and a group of outcasts to battle the queen and her powerful army. Now, just a little bit of background. Andrew has not seen any Maleficent movies.
Besides the animated Sleeping Beauty movie.
Besides the animated Sleeping Beauty. So you didn't see the first one, and you did not get a chance to see this one.
Yeah.
So I saw it. Phil, did you get a chance to see this?
No.
So I'm the only one in the room who has seen this.
Yeah.
So I get to proclaim whether or not this movie is good or not. And as far as like it, love, dislike it, hate it, or it was just okay, I really liked it.
Really?
Like very close to loved this movie.
Did not expect this.
I know, and it's why I'm disappointed that you did, because I needed you to talk me down. Like I needed you to bring me back to reality and say, Aaron, come on, man. And maybe somebody else will fill that role in my life, but I didn't think...
Aaron, come on, Aaron.
I don't believe you. You haven't seen it. I don't believe you. But the other thing that could happen if you do see this is you're like, no, actually it is really good. And then I get to feel really happy.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
I will see it.
I think it's better than the first one, and I thought the first one was okay. On the high side of okay. But there is something about this one that is so meaningful. The plot in this is something where it really takes a look at what it means to create division instead of unity amongst people you want to hate each other for your own benefit. Something in our world we've seen many, many times, with different leaders who want to create division in order to propel themselves.
No idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm not just talking about one person. I think there's one person coming to a lot of minds, but I'm not just talking about that one person, because it is one of those things that leaders can do to rile up their people who are on quote unquote their side. And this movie deals with it in a very interesting way, in a very meaningful way. And I came into this not expecting much. I expected it to be well done because it's Disney. I expected it to be, well performed, but just kind of to feel like the first one felt. And there's a moment, maybe about 20 minutes into the movie, after we've kind of reset the stage and kind of seen the people we love and have this huge tracking, sweeping, pretty much all CGI shot of this beautiful countryside. It was a pretty incredible shot. Although I have something I want to say about that here in a second. But after we get through that, about 20 minutes in, there's this moment where the crisis of the movie happens, right? That moment in the story that launches the rest of the movie and keeps you engaged. And it was the most emotionally impacting and therefore investing thing for me I've seen in a movie in a long time.
Really?
It was, I don't know if it was, I'm guessing it was all these things together. I'm guessing it was the score, the performance, Angelina Jolie specifically, the way she chose to handle this character in that moment. It deals with a very emotional thing that a lot of people, deal with just as being human. The idea of being misunderstood is a very powerful emotion. And it also deals with when the people you love the most misunderstand you the most. And it was heartbreaking and heart-wrenching and launched the rest of the movie for me in a really big way. And because of that, I was invested, and I really wanted to see what would happen. Then the movie takes us to new places in this world, and how I didn't rip on, but how I mentioned for Zombieland 2, I wanted to see something new and different and exciting. This movie does that as a sequel, really broadens the world building, and does it for a reason, for a purpose. It goes into some things that I'm not going to spoil here, but we'll just say not only expand our understanding of our main characters, but also set the stage and the foundation for the final battle / resolution, all those kind of things. So I just thought it was really well structured. It really kept me engaged. It hit me in all the places it needed to for me to be interested. And at the end of the day, I'm going, this is this is Disney taking the Sleeping Beauty property and turning it on its head. This is, and then I'm thinking, but this is kind of how I want them to do it, right? Because this isn't Sleeping Beauty. It's Maleficent. It's something new. It's from that world. Yeah. And Sleeping Beauty is in it, but it's something new. So I really had a good time.
You'll have to forgive me if this is a really ignorant question.
No, you're good.
I like Andrew, have not seen either of them, so I'm asking, out of ignorance.
Well, then I am the Maleficent expert in the room.
You're the guru.
Is this alternate history? Like, does it take the original Sleeping Beauty story and change it, or is it just like a sequel to that movie? I have no idea how either of the movies.
Some from column A, some from column B. Okay. It is.
I thought it was from like Maleficent's perspective,
exactly.
Like how she's not
it's a perspective
really as bad
shift.
As she was made.
It's a perspective shift.
Yeah.
You could say that it adds to the original if you imagine this perspective. However, if you go back and watch the original, I don't know that they line up enough that you could really say they're in the same timeline universe, because there are things about Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty that contradict how we're seeing Maleficent in these movies. But you could also say those movies were from a fear perspective of, the people who were the good guys in those movies. So if you allot for the idea that perspective changes truth, then yes, I think you could see them in the same way.
Is there more story to tell? Like, these two movies take place in the same amount of days as the Sleeping Beauty original movie? Or
the first one is more around the original mythos of Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
This one goes to completely new places.
Okay, gotcha.
So, yeah. Andrew, did you have any questions you wanted?
How's Michelle Pfeiffer?
She's great.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She's absolutely great. And Chiwetel Ejiofor is in this as well, doing good work. Elle Fanning is still perfect for Sleeping Beauty. Or Aurora, that is correct. And Angelina Jolie is so great. And I heard somebody say, and it kind of blew my mind, she hasn't really been in anything in like a decade, which is like what
she turned to directing.
Right, yeah, exactly. So and I that's an estimate. I don't remember what they said exactly, but it's been a long time since she's actually acted in something, and I think she does a great job with it. So yeah, there's a lot here that I enjoyed. The thing I wanted to mention about that first sweeping, beautiful CGI one shot that I mentioned is my wife was blown away by it, and it was IMAX, big screen, looked gorgeous. But last weekend, I got a chance to see Gemini Man in HFR. The last movie I saw was HFR 3D Plus. So I think it was 60 frames per second in each eye at the theater we saw it in. And I remembered this happening last time after it happened. Everything looked blurry to me in this movie for the first 20 to 25 minutes.
In this one?
Yes. Even in those gorgeous sweeping, shots, I was like, oh, where's the sharp, clear that up for, it looks so blurry. And my wife thought I was crazy. And I remember my mind had shifted while watching Gemini Man to accept kind of that looking through the window view that HFR provides you. And I know most people, change is tough and HFR is weird looking and we don't want to watch it that way, or some people feel that way. Although more people are saying with Gemini Man that they actually enjoy it, which is kind of cool. But for me, I want every movie in HFR. It's just the colors and the beauty and I'm ready for it. But yeah, it was kind of an interesting experience. It took me, again, about 20 to 30 minutes before I was like, oh, that's right. This is what movies look like.
That's interesting.
Which is okay. It's okay. You'll get used to it again. But
wow.
But yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably the weird one on that. So.
Well, now you got me intrigued to go and see some HFR.
Oh, man. Gemini Man and HFR was, as much as we didn't like that movie, it's well worth seeing. If you can find a theater that's showing it that way.
What, for the one scene?
For all of it, the whole thing. It's just it's kind of mind blowing and very well done.
I wonder if the Avatar movies are going to be done in HFR.
Yes, I mean that's always been James Cameron's plan to do 120. Yeah. But we'll see exactly how it happens.
That's exciting.
Any other questions about this movie or anything else you want to know?
Is it spoilers to ask if there's like sequel baiting?
No, not really. There isn't a lot of sequel baiting that's going on here, and there really wasn't in the first one either. It just kind of tells the story it sets out to tell, which I liked. The one negative I will say, and it actually is a doozy for me, is this movie at the end has its big resolution, and it kind of does something which I wish more movies would do, but it doesn't do it in a great way, and that's to resolve and then end. Because any more movies will resolve, and then another scene where they'll resolve, and then another scene will... Yeah. More and more movies are doing that.
Yeah.
And this movie didn't. But because of the way they chose to resolve and get out, it kind of made the end a little less powerful than it could have been.
Abrupt.
Yeah, a little abrupt and a little nonsensical, actually. So, yeah. But I don't think I can tell you why without spoiling it.
Okay,
so,
that's fair enough.
And I will say of the two movies, this is the one I would be more likely to do a SIF spoil on because there's more to talk about for me. But again, nobody else has seen it, so maybe we do a combined SIF spoil and we just tell people, we'll throw some spoilers out for both of them.
Yeah.
Maybe do it that way, but yeah, because I kind of do want
this movie spoiled.
I was gonna say I didn't think you probably would, so maybe we will do that. Find that in your podcast feed as well. So
sweet cherish.
So there you go. A surprisingly high review of a Maleficent sequel.
Surprised me.
I mean, Disney's got my number. I guess that's I'm a shill. Call me a Disney shill. Because I tend to like their stuff.
Well, that's how I am with Stephen King, so I get it.
I just found Maleficent, so I'm trying to think of the words. Enlightening and inspiring.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wish more movies did that.
I do too. I really wish that was more of a thing in movies.
I mean, it's been at least 30 years since I've seen a movie do that.
Yeah. It's tough to do. It's really tough to do. Yeah. All right, let's move on to our best ever challenge. But before we do, thank you so much to our SiftPop members. You guys are incredible, and thank you so much for keeping this pop culture experiment going for so long. It's because of you that we have the live show going now on YouTube. You can subscribe to SiftPop on YouTube and watch that. It's because of you that the podcast keeps coming out each week. It's because of you that there are articles on SiftPop.com. The best ever challenge. We have a corresponding article with, for that every week. We've got reviews that happen there from our different writers. Check that stuff out. You are making it happen with your membership at SiftPop. And just go to Patreon to do that. So patreon.com/SiftPop starts at $3 a month. There's some other fun perks that come with it, and you can check out all the information there. And thank you. That's patreon.com/SiftPop. It's like how I popped that P. SiftPop. Yeah, very nice. All right, best ever challenge movies that are sequels after a gap of at least 10 years.
Yeah, buddy.
There are a lot of these.
Yeah.
Hollywood has no problem going back into the archives.
No, like at all.
At all.
Yeah.
We'll give you our number 5 through number 1.
Yep.
I'm going to guess we've got a very similar top 5.
I don't.
Okay, never mind then. Why don't you start us off? What's your number 5?
Force Awakens.
Yeah, I've got that at number 3.
Okay. So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Blade Runner 2049.
Trump that. Okay, fine. We might have the same list.
Just in different order.
Yeah.
What's your number 4?
Toy Story 3.
I'm going to trump that.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, Trump. Oh, it's my number 3, so we'll just go ahead and let's just talk about it.
I told you we were going to have the same ones.
Gosh, man.
All right, let's talk about Mad Max Fury Road.
Wow, the best Furiosa movie ever. It's so long. I think the last one was Beyond Thunderdome. Was the last Mel Gibson, and I don't know if that's counting I don't know if there's non-canon Mad Max movies or whatever. But regardless, this movie is just a testament to how to do an action movie.
Yeah.
As many practical effects as you can, and then fill in with CGI.
Yeah.
Oh, this movie's so much fun to watch. I actually just recently watched it again, I think either this past week or the week before. It's just so fun. I got the big 4K TV and everything, so I'm like, what movie should I watch on the big 4K? Like, I didn't just get the 4K, but I'm like, I have this 4K TV. Why am I not using it, you know?
Shall I utilize this piece of equipment in my home?
So it was actually between Blade Runner and Mad Max to be the deciding factor. I'm like, well, I don't have 3 hours, so I'll watch Mad Max.
Very cool.
And man, it's fun. The way that he uses like colors and stuff, how everything is so barren in that world, yet the environments that they travel to are so different. It's just great. And of course, Charlize Theron just killing it.
Yeah, it's a really spectacular. I have not rewatched it in a while, but I should. I know I should rewatch more stuff. There's just so much new stuff out there.
I get it.
That always is at the top of my priority list. But this is one I really would like to go back and rewatch.
Cool.
My number 3, by the way, is The Force Awakens, which I think you had at number 5.
Yep.
So we can go ahead and talk about that.
Yep.
It came out the same year as Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, it was
in
a good
fact,
year.
That was a good year for movies.
Good year for deserts.
It was a very good year. If you lease out your deserts to Hollywood, man, that was a great year for you.
How amazing is this movie?
It's pretty great.
I am just amazed.
It's not top 100 of all time for me, but it's great.
It is top 100 of all time for me.
It is for me too.
And
Really?
it's primarily because of Rey. Rey is one of my favorite characters to be introduced in film in a long time. BB-8 is also one of my favorite characters to be introduced into film in a long time. As is Poe. It's like all these new characters are so engaging and compelling that I really dig what they've done with the universe. And they did it in such a way where they didn't rely on the nostalgia of the characters we know.
That's what I was about to say.
They're in there,
Yeah.
but they aren't the driving force.
I was surprised how much
That's a little bit of a pun there, just in case you didn't catch it.
I got you. I was surprised actually how much I left that movie going, you know what? I think I enjoyed these new characters more than, I loved seeing Chewbacca, Harrison Ford, and,
Sure.
Mark Hamill. And yeah, it was just like, wow, these new characters. And I think it's the fact, and this is probably going to get me some backlash. I think Kylo Ren is the most fascinating villain Star Wars has ever made. I don't know. I don't think he's my favorite villain, but as far as like his journey, even in Last Jedi, for as much as I don't like that movie, his journey and like his struggles are still the most intriguing things about this new saga, this new trilogy that we're working on.
There are a lot of great Star Wars villains in the annals of Star Wars history, and of course Darth Vader would be the one to go to right away.
Yeah.
But you're right, because he's so much more human right from the beginning. Vader was always beyond human, like we come to find out about his humanity and who he is, but at the beginning he's kind of he's a presence, more than he is a person.
Yeah.
So I can see where you're coming from.
For a villain. And
sure.
I mean, if anybody's going to do just an unstoppable force of fury, Vader is it.
Yeah.
But as far as like digging in and finding the humanity and the complexities of what makes a villain really great, I think that's Kylo Ren.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. All right. I'm kind of confused as to where we are now. I think we've got have you done your number 3?
So I've said Force Awakens, which we just talked about. Toy Story 3, which
we haven't talked about, right?
And then Fury Road,
which we talked about.
Yes.
So we're ready for your number 2.
What have we talked about? Your
well, you were going
5,
first.
4, 3?
Yeah. Well, we haven't talked about my number 5.
Okay.
Why don't you do your number 2, which is where we are?
Okay. Casino Royale.
Oh.
Yeah.
Trump. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I knew this one wasn't going to be on your list because I know another movie that is on your list.
Yeah.
I was surprised, honestly. I was surprised you had Fury Road and Blade Runner. That's why I thought we were going to have very differentiating lists.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Casino Royale was a 10-year gap?
Between that and Die Another Day. Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize 10 years went by without a Bond movie.
Yeah. Man, and what a way to come back to the franchise,
Yeah.
I mean, having a Bond that can get hurt was one of the most refreshing things about that franchise. Yeah, he's still the womanizer. Yeah, he still get the cool gadgets and everything, but not as the gadgets they really toned down from where they were with the Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan got ridiculous with his gadgets, you know, especially in Die Another Day, where he had an invisible car. I mean, it just got silly. This one became way more grounded in reality. The fact that you have it kind of playing homage to the original Casino Royale, you know, and the cool debonair presence that... sorry.
Daniel Craig?
Daniel Craig, thank you. I was choking on his name because he's such a handsome man. That he brings to this role was very refreshing.
All the things you say are true, except for that it was 4 years between Die Another Day and Casino Royale.
Are you sure?
I mean, I just looked it up. Die Another Day was 2002. Casino Royale was 2006.
Actually, all of the Pierce Brosnan movies came out in less than 10 years, except for GoldenEye.
What did I look up?
I don't know.
I might have actually. I might have accidentally looked up GoldenEye when I meant to look up Die Another Day.
Okay. It's okay. It's all right. It happens.
So I'm just going to move up my number 6, which I know is your number 2 or number 1. So, yeah. So let's talk about Incredibles 2, shall we?
So if that's the case, we literally have the same 5 movies in a different order.
Let's talk about Incredibles 2.
Let's talk about Toy Story 3 first. That's what I have at number 2.
Okay.
The Toy Story movies, it blows me away that all 4 of them have been so as amazing as they are. Pixar did a really interesting thing because several of their movies, and of course we'll talk about another one next, were like, no, we're not ready to do sequels right out of the gate on these. And then down the line, there was like, you know, I think we can do a story on this. And how much was the money they could make inspiration for those stories? Probably quite a bit. Is that okay? I think so. Because we got great stories.
But they wanted to do it right.
They did want to do it right, and I think that's pretty cool. And they're still making original films. You know, they're still doing original stuff. So I think that's great, too. But Toy Story 3 brought us back to this world, gave us a new experience.
Oh, you're doing Toy Story 3?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Well, that's what you had, Toy Story 3?
I meant Toy Story 4.
Oh, you meant Toy Story 4?
Yeah. I meant, like, the transition from Toy Story 3 to Toy Story 4. Because that's 10 years, isn't it?
It's 9.
Yeah, it's 9.
So Toy Story 3 is pretty great, isn't it, guys? I mean, when they're all holding hands at the end, I mean, it gets me every time.
It really does.
Yeah.
I go back and forth on my order on the Toy Story movies, and there is so much at play in them. If you do it by which ones are the most emotional, which ones get you the most, Toy Story 3 may be at the top on that. I mean, there's great moments in all of them, but
3 is the best ending for all 4 movies for me.
If you go by best ending, which movie is it? If you go by nostalgia, it's the first one. You know what I mean? Like if you go by which one I want to watch the most right now,
4.
It's probably 4, right? Like, so I'm saying, like,
I think 4 is the funniest out of all.
If you go by fun, that's what I'm saying. You could rate the Toy Story movies in so many different ways and come up with a different answer. But yeah, I love Toy Story 3, so
yeah,
it's good stuff.
I'll get a correct list one day. So now
my number 1 is Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
Way to go, Brad Bird.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff. Literally.
The guy does good work.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised how much I think I said this before. I like Incredibles 2 more than I like Incredibles 1.
Yeah.
I think that it's way more interesting. I think Jack Jack is used perfectly. The Jack Jack v Raccoon thing is one of the funniest things ever.
Yeah.
It really is.
The quote unquote light cycle. I'll just say that the train chase is one of the coolest action sequences of last year. Yeah, just a great movie. And it was so good how you was so comfortable jumping right back into this world.
Yeah, and jumped right back in
to the story.
Right where it left off, which I found a really interesting choice, which you can do with voice actors, although I would argue that the actors are aging, enough that you could kind of tell a little bit of a difference.
I was just about to say I couldn't.
But it was good enough, like it wasn't distracting in any way. So
I mean, Jack Jack should be 12 by now.
That's true. Yeah. There's probably a different Jack Jack. Actually, I don't know that. I don't know who did the voice for Jack Jack. But yeah, so I really enjoy Incredibles 2, and it is my number 1 sequel gap movie. All right, let's talk about some honorable mentions.
Let's do it.
I've got about 10 of them.
I got 6.
All right, why don't you name yours?
Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle.
Okay.
I mean, I was so shocked how fun that movie was.
Yeah.
I was shocked. Finding Dory.
Yep.
It's a great movie. Doesn't live up to the first one.
No.
Nope. It's still fun.
Still great.
Boondock Saints, All Saints Day. That one's just for me.
I was gonna say, I didn't even know that one.
Yeah. Escape from LA.
I had that one on my list. Yeah.
Snake Plissken's such a fun character. I mean, he's so basic, but Kurt Russell plays him to a T. Jurassic World.
Yeah. We're Jurassic World defenders here.
We are defenders of Jurassic World.
Not Fallen Kingdom.
No, definitely not
Fallen Kingdom.
That's garbage.
Just Jurassic World.
And then one that was so close to making my top 5. Granted, I totally butchered my top 5 because I didn't know how long. I forgot how time worked apparently.
Yeah.
But Tron Legacy.
Yes.
Still the best scored.
That
movie
was my
of all
number
time.
6.
It's the best scored movie of all time. I'll call that right now.
I like that movie. I think it's really well done.
Yeah.
Do you have Rambo or Rocky Balboa on there?
I thought about putting Creed in there.
Well, Creed wasn't 10 years after the last Rocky movie, though.
You sure about that?
But Rocky Balboa was.
Yeah, but I love the Rocky franchise. I don't like Rocky Balboa.
Well, see, then you wouldn't have put it on there.
Exactly.
Mary Poppins Returns.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that movie.
You
I
liked
did
it way
enjoy
more
that
than I
movie.
did.
Fantasia 2000.
Yeah, I never saw Fantasia 2000.
It's pretty interesting.
It's
it's kind of a tech demo, experimental animation kind of thing.
Is
But
Chernobog back?
Yes.
That gave me nightmares when I was a kid.
Got to talk about Bad Boys for Life.
Do you?
Well,
Wait,
maybe
is
not.
it even out yet?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay, yeah. So you're cheating.
A little bit.
Okay.
Zoolander 2, I enjoyed.
I saw it and I'm like, do I even want to put it on my honorable mention? I mean, it gave me a few laughs here and there, but like the whole Owen Wilson getting everybody he knows pregnant, even regardless if they're male or female, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was just sequel baiting.
Live Free or Die Hard. It's another one worth mentioning.
Sure.
And that's why they didn't make our top 5s.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
They're part of all the movies you listed. They're part of franchises that I love. It's just that the gap and then the sequel that actually came after wasn't good enough to actually make my list.
I hear you.
Even though I did put Boondock Saints, All Saints Day on my list, and that's just a guilty pleasure movie.
There's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. You don't have to feel guilty at all, Andrew. If you like it, you like it. It's okay, man. It's all right.
That's a dangerous sentiment. That you don't want to give me carte blanche on that.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
All right, let's hit our buried treasure, Andrew. What's that one thing in any area of pop culture that you want to make sure people know about?
Another Marvel comic series.
Ooh.
See, the thing is, I've read a lot of DC, so I'm going through the back catalog of Marvel right now. So that's why you see me always like promoting the Marvel ones right now. But this one, very fascinating little series. It was only 6 issues long, called Trail of Tears. It is a Ghost Rider alternate history.
Ooh, little Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, not so much. Because this is following not Johnny Blaze, who is my favorite Ghost Rider. If you didn't know, there are many people who have held the mantle of Ghost Rider. The Spirit of Vengeance has, I guess you could say, possessed many a mortal.
Yeah.
This one follows Caleb, who, this is post-Civil War. He was a freed slave who bought his own freedom. He was murdered by some Confederate, I guess it's post-Civil War, so like some post-Confederate soldiers. And him and his friend go on a revenge spree. Fascinating story, interesting, little time period. I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's only 6 issues long. The art style is great. And yeah, I always thought Ghost Rider was a fascinating character.
Very nice.
Yep. What you got?
My buried treasure is a new Netflix series that just dropped, starring Paul Rudd as well as Paul Rudd. Living with Myself.
I didn't know this came
Or
out
Living
yet.
with Yourself, actually, I think is what it's called. Yeah, dropped a couple days ago, and I thought I'd check it out, and I couldn't stop watching it. 8 episodes, varying lengths, like they often do on Netflix, and it is really good.
Would you say you Johnny Blazed through the whole
I
thing?
Johnny blazed through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I love this show. Part of that is Paul Rudd. Huge Paul Rudd fan.
Yeah.
Love his personality.
Such a lovable guy.
Love what he does. I love both the characters he's playing here that are the same character, but also different characters.
Yeah.
Without getting too much into the plot. I love the message of this movie. There's a beautiful metaphor here about relationships, about marriage, about our own interaction with people and our own kind of dual personalities we can have with people. In this case, those dual personalities are the personalities of a relationship as it begins and a relationship as it's aged. And I think anybody who's been in a long-term relationship will find a lot of things here that feel very real and very meaningful. And the show, I almost called it a movie because it feels like a movie to me because I kind of watched it like a movie. That's the interesting thing about these short season Netflix things.
Yeah.
You figure they're 20 to 30 minutes long, 8 of them. It kind of is just a long movie. You know what I mean? And so there were a lot of moments in this where I found myself really touched by what was going on and at the same time cracking up at the way it was done. Now, the only negative for me was there were a couple moments where the humor turned from the type of humor that I felt went well with this tone to more of an over-the-top, ridiculous style of humor. There were a couple of scenes where it was like, okay, now this feels more like, and not that these things are bad, but it's a different tone of humor.
Slapstickish?
Well, it feels more like 22 Jump Street or, something like that, where it's just like, it's getting its humor for how ridiculous and over the top the characters are, instead of its humor for how real and authentic it is and how much you're buying into these people. But that was only like once or twice in all of the 8 episodes, and all the stuff directly relating to Paul Rudd, to his wife, to his job situation, all that stuff felt really authentic and very well done. The show isn't afraid to be dark. It isn't afraid to go to some real places, and it isn't afraid to have that pathos, that really it helps you invest in it. So I'm loving it. I absolutely cannot wait for another season of this. I think it'll continue to be awesome. And by the way, that's not to say that there's sequel baiting going on here. There isn't. In fact, if this ended right now, I'd be happy because the way it ends is a perfect ending for what I saw as the themes and message of what was going on here. So it is one of those rare metaphorical pieces of art that works completely as a metaphor and also completely as an authentic real world story that you can kind of, when I say that, obviously, there's cloning involved that we don't know that this exists in this way. But
how does this stack up against like The Sixth Day or Multiplicity or any other great cloning movie?
It's got a little bit of both in there. There's definitely a little bit of Multiplicity in here. Yeah. But Multiplicity is more going for laughs as the priority. And I think this is more going for the priority being meaningful. I'm trying to think of good words. Enlightenment, inspiration, something like that. So that's what it's going for.
It's going for what really makes a good cinematic
It may have been directed by Francis Ford Coppola. I need to check that, but
if not, then maybe he just handed off to Scorsese,
Yes. Huge recommend. Huge
well,
recommend.
You sold me.
Living with Yourself, I believe is what it's called. Living with Yourself. I also want to give a huge shout out.
There's a documentary on Netflix I really want to check out that just dropped.
Oh, which one? Because I've been doing the nominations for the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards.
Something about somebody getting amnesia and their brother having to fill them in on who they were. Yeah. Let's see if I can find the name of it real quick while you're looking up your thing. This is going to be fascinating.
Well, no, I've already got my thing here, but what were you going to say, Phil?
I was going to say it's a true story. Andrew?
Yeah.
Yes, Living with Yourself is a true story of a man who was cloned. And no, I wanted to give a shout out to Aisling B, I think is her last name. But she plays Paul Rudd's wife in this, and boy, is she good. Whew. She's really good. And in the same way that Paul Rudd is believable, authentic, and you care about him, and he's also funny, she has all those qualities as well.
What has she been in?
Have
you seen her in anything?
I think I have, but I'm going to have to look up what I've seen her in. She seemed familiar, but I haven't seen her in a lot. No, she really hasn't been in a lot that I've seen.
It's called Tell Me Who I Am.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good.
You've seen it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, fun. Fun.
So there you go. We did it, man.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we casted an enlightened and inspirational pod.
Yeah.
It happened.
I mean, if podcasts are cinematic experiences, I mean, I think we've covered our bases on this one.
Yeah. I think Francis Ford Coppola would be proud of us. He would be excited that that this despicable piece of art exists.
Yeah.
Was that the word he used? Despicable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
We should co-opt whatever the deplorables thing was and be the despicables.
Yeah.
We'll just be the despicables.
Yeah, there we go.
The Marvel fan base. We're the despicables. Thank you so much for joining us today for SiftPop. It is part of the Studio DNA Podcast Network. You can find out more about other shows on the network at studiodna.media, or you can search for Studio DNA in your podcast player. Huge thanks to Andrew for coming and hanging out.
Back out.
Anything you want to chat? Anything you want to shout out?
Hi, people. I love you.
Very nice. Huge thanks to Phil for producing the show. Phil, you got any shout outs?
No. I need to go see Maleficent, apparently.
Maleficent?
Maleficent.
Yes. I would love for you both to see it and tell me that I'm, either full of it or that actually I'm correct. I would love to know, because it's one of those experiences where you don't have the experience you were thinking you were going to have, and so then you're questioning yourself. You're like, did I just talk myself into this? Is it
maybe
really
you
this
just
good?
hyped it up for Phil and I.
Right, and then you're never going to like it as much as I did after I hyped it up for you.
Yeah.
Anyways, much love and gratitude to our SiftPop members as well for giving monthly to make SiftPop a real thing. Support starts at $3 a month. Gives you access to every bonus episode as well as some other fun perks, including a monthly video hangout. You can find out more info at patreon.com/SiftPop. Lots of ways to connect with what's going on here. You can comment, rate, throw some stars at Apple Podcasts, leave a review. We would love that as well. You can also email us, feedback@siftpop.com, if you have a question. Any question, send it our way. And finally, if you're having a good time, your movie-loving friends will probably like the show too, so make sure you let them know about it, and that listening is much easier than brokering peace between warring factions in less than 1 hour. Next, we'll have a spoiler chat on both movies, I think, in the same file. So we'll let you know which one's going first in case you want to hear one but not the other. But we really don't have a ton to talk about with both of them. So we'll go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it in one file in your feed, but that'll be coming your way next. And then we'll be on our Netflix talk next week. We'll review The Laundromat, and I'll have an advanced look at The Irishman.
Well, that's exciting.
Thank you, Netflix. You guys are the best.
So inspiring.
We'll see you then. All right. How's YouTube doing? Everything going all right on the live broadcast?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Chris apparently thinks one of us is stoned. So
it's probably me because I got something in my eye and I keep rubbing it to get my eyes taken. So
Jay Bourgeois says, might have to check out the Paul Rudd series. Tom Brady cameo certainly got people talking. Yes, it did. I thought it was hilarious. Let's see. Recently watched another limited series on Netflix, The Spy. Decent enough.
Oh yeah,
I
that's the
haven't seen that
Sacha
one.
Baron Cohen one.
Yep.
Haven't seen it.
So there you go. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We appreciate it. We're going to record some spoilers now.
Nope.
Bye.